No Man's Sky is a massive game with a lot going on, and unless you've sunk hundreds of hours into it, you probably haven't done everything it has to offer. So in this video, here's a load of things that you didn't know you could do, or maybe didn't even know existed in the game. First up is a pretty wacky one, because who doesn't want to have an absolute unit of a companion that looks like this? To do this, you'll need to tame any animal like usual with pellets, and then wait the 24 hours for them to be able to produce an egg. Grab that egg and head over to the anomaly for the egg sequencer. Here you can add different materials to add or reduce certain characteristics, but what you may not have known is that you can do this process over and over again. Put some platinum, silver or chlorine into the growth hormone box, process the egg and repeat this at least 5 times, but more if you can be bothered. The result should be a pretty huge egg and an even bigger companion. Especially if it can fly or move pretty fast, riding this monstrosity of a pet can actually be quite practical in terms of getting around, because who needs an Exocraft when you have a 60-foot long f***ing dog? Next is a really small detail that you may or may not have noticed before. See these faint lines sometimes, maybe going across a planet or just across space? Well, each one is actually some sort of trade route. And as is customary for No Man's Sky, they're actually somewhat functional rather than being a useless decoration, as if you follow one of the lines down to a planet, it will take you to its trade outpost. This is actually pretty useful to know in the early game before you have an economy scanner, as trade outposts are a great place to build your bases near, so this is a good way to find them. Black holes are another game element that I found myself stumbling upon, as since the Atlas Rising update, portals have been the way to get around. Before this though, black holes were the best way for long distance travel, and they still are useful if you don't have all the glyphs or prefer not to teleport your way to the centre. There's one in every region, and you can find the coordinates from this guy in the anomaly. Each one then has a fixed destination that it will get you to, which is about 7,000 light years closer to the galaxy centre. It's important to note though that you may actually travel hundreds of thousands of light years to do this, as it kind of rotates you around the galaxy, almost spiralling you in, rather than on a direct path. Certain hyper black holes though can take you over 300,000 light years closer, travelling well over 1,000,000 light years in some cases. Also, if you haven't used one for a while, you'll be very pleased to know that passing through one no longer damages your ship. Now before we move on, this video has been kindly sponsored by Ekster, who combine quality and technology to make some of the coolest and most practical wallets and accessories. For example, their Parliament wallet integrates an aluminium card holder to fan out your cards at the push of a button, which helps keep wallet bulge down. There's space on the inside for more cards and cash, but my favourite feature is the slot for their tracker card. With the extra tracker card, you can forget about ever losing your wallet again, and this thing even has a solar panel so you never have to worry about batteries. You can of course track your wallet from your phone, and if you've lost it nearby, you can ring it up with a song of your choice. This feature even works backwards, so if you lose your phone but have your wallet on you, you can call it from your wallet. Didn't think that's something I'd ever be able to say. They have loads of other accessories too, like this leather key holder and key tracker, and I've partnered up with them to give you an exclusive discount of up to 25% off, using code AVERAGE or the link in the description. But back to No Man's Sky. Next up is something really cool, Skybases. In a very Star Wars-like fashion, it is actually possible to build a fully functional base in the upper atmosphere of a planet. You're not really meant to be able to do it though, so a little bit of a workaround is required. Now there's a few different methods, but the best one is to place a landing pad mid-air during the zooming out cutscene when you claim land on a base computer. Wait 2 or 3 seconds after it starts zooming in though, as there are height limits to all of this. Go too high and you can't build anything, or the stuff you place will just despawn next time you load in. Before going to town on the base building then, it's a good idea to just load out and back in to check you're at an okay height. If you get it right, you'll be below the height limit but far enough from your base computer that you can place a new one and just keep building. Another good idea is to do this above an EM hotspot for easier power generation, although don't worry if you can't manage that, as solar panels and batteries will work. Now I certainly didn't come up with this method, and it was also a very brief explanation, so check the link in the description for a great walkthrough by Bunks Gaming. Another base building secret which you may not be aware of is to do with settlements. Settlements were introduced relatively recently in the Waypoint update, and are small NPC civilizations that you can take over and eventually profit from. And if you haven't come across one before, you can grab a settlement chart from the space station cartographer and find one on your planet. What you may not know though is that you can actually build freely around and inside it. Now if you've tried to do this by placing a base computer right inside the settlement, you would get an error, but if you go between 350 and 400 units away from it, you can place a computer there and claim that land. This should reach all the way to the settlement. If you need to extend it, just build some random pieces as you get closer. Within a settlement is a great place to build a base, because having other buildings and NPCs around can really add some character to it, plus it's really convenient to manage the settlement from there. Now something you may not have known or noticed about storms and weather are the other effects that they have. For example, in superheated storms, your jetpack lasts for a huge amount longer, while freezing temperatures stop your mining beam from overheating. This also goes for high radioactivity, which increases mining yield, and dense toxic gases, which can increase stamina. Another point on your jetpack which you may have used without noticing is that it won't deplete fuel when going up a wall, and this is a fucking good job, or you would very easily get stuck down in holes or be unable to get back to your ship if you parked it on a hilltop. Something that might be obvious to some players but certainly wasn't to me is how there are different colours of star system and what this means. Most common are yellow systems, identifiable by F or G, and also the fact that they're yellow. These systems have copper as their unique resource, and fun fact, the number here after the letter for a system refers to its relative temperature on a scale of 0 to 9, with 0 being the hottest because hello games are intuitive fuckers. All yellow systems are inhabited to some extent, so you won't find them uncharted or abandoned. Yellow systems are also your best bet for paradise planets, which is helpful to know if you want to build a base on them. Red systems, which have cadmium as their defining resource, need a cadmium drive to get to. Rare materials are slightly more common in these than yellow systems, but life is not, as many systems will be uninhabited and likely uncharted. You can look for K or M stars on the galaxy map to find red systems. There are also green systems, which are category E, contain emerald, and unsurprisingly need an emerald drive to get to. Rare materials are generally more common, and there's an average chance for uncharted or inhabited systems, but a low chance for abandoned ones. Finally are blue systems, B or O, which contain indium and therefore need an indium drive to get to, and the recipe for this requires emerald, which you'll have to get from a green system. Rare materials are abundant, and the chances of the different types of system are similar to that of green. Something else that took me a long time to realise is how easily you can exploit the cheaper goods of rich systems to make some very quick money. 3-star economy systems should have 5 trade goods available to buy, the trade goods being the ones that show up first on the trading list and are never raw materials. They're cheap because rich systems can manufacture them locally, so someone who isn't a dumb shit like me would realise that you can hop across to a poorer trading system with a high sell percentage and quickly make a few million units. It's a slightly more complex process than this if you really want to optimise it though, so you can guarantee whatever goods you've got will be selling for a really high price if you go to the correct economy type. One main route is to sell goods from trading economies to advanced material, and goods from there are sold to scientific economies, looping back to the trading economies from there. The other main route is on screen, and further info is linked in the description. Now we all know what Exocraft are and how they work, but did you know that you can also race them? From the blueprint analyzer you can get a race initiator to set up a racetrack for Exocraft. This feature's actually been in the game for a stupidly long time, but a lot of people don't seem to know about it, and with friends especially it can make for a serious amount of fun. Next up is another small detail that you could easily miss. The colour, format and icons on player entered text fields such as your base name can actually be completely customised. I came across this somewhere and assumed that the player who did it had some sort of item that let them do it, but anyone can actually do this by following some basic formats within the text field. There's way too many for me to go over here, but if you wanted green text for example, you would simply just put this in. Again, the rest of the rules will be linked in the description, so you can have a play with it and see what you like. The final feature in this video that you may have overlooked is the ability to make your own music, if you can call it that. At the Anomaly, you can unlock the Bytebeat device for 10 salvage data, and this gives you access to a pretty impressive music creation tool. This is something that actually must have taken someone a really long time to make. You can change the speed, key, volume, and of course all the notes in your music to have a welcoming cacophony for whoever enters your base. If you want to go really over the top, you can even sync it up with light panels that you can also unlock in the same place. So that's everything I have for you in this video. If you've discovered any hidden features or secrets of your own, then do comment them below. If you want to see more, then check out my video on everything I wish I knew before playing No Man's Sky, linked on screen right now. Also, if you've enjoyed this video or found it useful, then a like or even a sub would be absolutely amazing. But that's all, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.